Good morning, Keller Williams. Today we are going to take a look at creating your seller forms in Docusign Rooms while starting in Command. So we are going to go ahead and assume we have already added our contacts here in Command. We're going to move down to our opportunities. Now, if you're on a team, you're going to be creating this opportunity on your team pipeline. If you're an individual agent, you will not see a team pipeline and you will create it on your standard pipeline. So then we are going to choose which market center you're in if you're in multiple. An opportunity type for this instance is going to be a listing. You will be the owner of the opportunity if you're an individual agent. If you're on a team, your rainmaker will be the opportunity. And now we are going to select our first client. And if they have a co-client, then they will show up here in the related contacts. You're going to note it will automatically name client first name dash listing, since that is our opportunity type. We do want to change this for our MCAs. If you want to leave client dash listing, that's great, but please make sure to also add your property address here so that it's easier to look up when it closes. Come down here to estimated listing price. If we have that, we can go ahead and put that in. And our commission rate, that's just our side. Make sure we're moving through our correct phases and stages of our opportunity. So in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and move this one to active and staging. We're getting ready to sell, and I'm going to create this opportunity. Great. Now we are in our Opportunities Details tab. You can see that we have our tabs up here at the top, and we're going to start off with our details. So we can hit this edit pencil at any time, and we can edit the appropriate fields. So these folks are ready to go. I don't have an estimated closing date yet. Let's say I had my appointment with them last week on Friday. I scheduled it. And then we held our appointment. I'm sorry, let's say we scheduled the 25th. We held our appointment the 26th. I won the agreement on the 26th. And now we are getting ready to list. So I don't have a contract date or a close date yet. Everything looks good here. I'm going to click Save. I'm going to move up here now to the property box. Go ahead and type in this address. Keep in mind, these are populated by Google. The addresses are populated by Google. So if you are listing a new construction, you're not going to see this pop up, as that address doesn't yet exist in Google, more than likely. So you will have to manually enter the address. Okay, so we're going to keep moving through here, filling in our details, and we're going to click Save. Okay. And we can run on down and complete our seller worksheet if we desire. Give this a description down here at the bottom. And now we can move forward a step. Seller profile is just going to let us know if our consumer is registered with our platform. And both of mine are. This way we can manage their seller's guide. So we've discussed how to edit these guides. You can manage that here, wherever we are in the process. Okay, save changes there. And now what we're here for is documents. So once we get into our documents tab, we are going to move over to the left and pick a checklist type. This is going to be a residential property that I'm listing. And you will see the checklist of items that you will need to add. When it first opens, we are in our listed folder. So these are the items that we need to get signed and have turned in to our compliance officers in order to get them approved. So we're going to need an MLS sheet, working with real estate agents, listing agreement, etc. Great. So now we are going to start our transaction. So I'm going to move up here into the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to select Start a Transaction in Docusign. That is going to open Docusign for me. If you do not see this happen, please make sure that you check that you do not have a pop-up blocker enabled, it will probably show up here in your URL bar somewhere if it is blocking this pop-up. And so you're then going to log into your Docusign account. Here we go. And you will notice that this is Dakota Perry Listing, 600 Quarterstaff Road. My Docusign room is also named Dakota Perry Listing, 600 Quarterstaff Road, because these two are now connected. So the first step we're going to take in Docusign is to come over to our Details tab. Keep in mind everything that we're doing within Command and Docusign is a workflow. So it runs pretty linearly. We do one thing and then the next and then the next. And that way we can ensure that everything is working as intended. At a minimum, you're going to want to make sure on your right-hand side contacts that seller 1 has a name and an email address. You can fill in the rest if you would like. Just keep in mind it will auto-populate on your documents if it exists in the Details tab. Now we come down to seller 2. We want to make sure, again, name and email address exist. And then us as the listing agent, we still have some work that we're doing on populating these fields. However, templates are forthcoming soon, so stay tuned for that. We're going to click this blue edit button in the upper right-hand corner. And once I click on that, I'm going to pop into my Listing Agent 1 box and make sure that everything is complete so that we'll autofill into my documents. Okay, great. So now we're going to move into the middle. We don't have any other contacts related to the signatures that we're getting today. So we're going to move into our details, and keep in mind when you use Google autofill, it may fill in some things that you don't want. So it is best practice to just go ahead and type this data in instead of allowing Google to fill the information for you. Great. So we can go ahead and fill out as much of this as we want. Anywhere that these fields exist within the forms, they will populate. So we are actually going to go live, say Thursday this week, and you can put your listing's expiration date in, your original listing amount. We don't have an offer yet, so we're going to go ahead and click Save in the lower right corner. Now our Details tab is complete. We're going to move forward to our Documents tab. We're going to click the blue plus button in the upper right-hand corner and choose Docusign Forms in this example. We're using only Docusign Forms. We are not including zip forms here. So we are going to pick our Docusign Forms group as both the Winston-Salem and Greensboro Market Centers. Your wonderful leadership team has set up groups for you. Then we are going to drop down. If you were in Winston-Salem, you will see KWRE Buyer Forms and KWRE Listing Forms. If you are in Greensboro, you are going to see Buyer Packet Residential, Listing Packet Residential. So in this opportunity example, we are working out of the Winston-Salem Market Center. So we are going to pick the KWRE Listing Forms group. Working with real estate agents is chosen as required already by your broker in charge. Then we're going to also need our exclusive right to sell listing agreement. If you're going to complete a seller estimated net sheet, you can choose that here. We're going to pull in our Residential Property Owners Association disclosure statement, the mineral oil and gas rights. And for the purposes of this example, we do need a lead-based paint as this house was built in 1963. Here's the new agent disclosure for Winston-Salem. You're going to use that if you're in Winston-Salem. If you're in Greensboro, you have a separate disclosure that you may need. We can also move down and see the lead-based paint brochures here. So you may need that in this instance since we are getting a lead-based paint signed. A question and answers on home inspections. If you were going to be doing a coming soon, we have added the Triad MLS documents here for you. So we're going to go ahead and click add. All right. So now you can see these are the forms that we are going to get signed or that our people are going to just receive a copy of, for example, the questions and answers on home inspections and the lead-based paint brochure. From this step, we are going to move forward and click to open our documents. I'm going to start out with the Working with Real Estate Agents brochure. We're going to scroll down and take care of any text fields that need to be completed, such as my license number. Again, templates are going to be here very soon, and we will not have to worry about this extra step once we have our templates set up. And so that is all I need to take care of. You can see that my clients filled in, I filled in, the company filled in. It was just my license number that did not have a field in the Details tab of Docusign. I'm going to click Save and Close. And now I'm going to go ahead and move forward to my exclusive right to sell listing agreement. And we are going to fill in any text on this listing agreement that we need to add. So for me, the effective date is going to be the date that this has been signed by both seller and firm. Have my expiration date that popped in from my Details tab. The address popped in from my Details tab. I'm going to go ahead and complete any additional documents that I need to complete. Here in my form, right? Okay, so we're going to just move through our form and fill out any pertinent information that needs to be on this form. So you will continue to move through your document and fill out the pertinent information. To keep this short, we're just going to say that this is done. But a quick note, don't forget to say that the seller acknowledges the receipt of the questions and answers on home inspection. Again, once we have our templates available soon, you can go ahead and check that off because you should always give them that sample copy. And we are going to click Save and Close and move forward with filling in the rest of any pertinent information on any documents that we have to get signed. So you can see here when I open my lead-based paint brochure that everything pretty much that I need is filled in from my Details tab. We don't have a buyer yet, so we just need to move forward with getting this stuff signed. And all of these signatures, keep in mind, and their printed name will fill in our envelope section when we're getting signatures. So you don't have to worry about that at this moment. It's the same thing over here with your residential property disclosure. Most of your fields are going to be filled in for you. So here we go. You can see that. And none of these boxes are clickable because these are boxes for the client to complete on their own. If you don't feel confident in letting them complete this on their own, please make sure to just take a paper copy with you and get it signed together in person. All right, so last one is mineral oil and gas rights. Again, there's nothing that you need to fill in here. Your Details tab will have done all of that for you. We'll just double check to make sure. Again, we cannot fill in any of these boxes. Those are for the seller. In here is the address and the owner's names. signatures to be taken care of in the next step. We're going to save and close. Okay, now that we are ready to get these signed, we're going ahead and choosing the documents that we want to get signed or send for review. For example, lead-based paint, question and answers on home inspections. We have everything. We could have hit select all in this example, as we are sending all of the forms, and we are going to create the envelope. Now, if you are a details person like me, you don't like for the forms to be out of order. Here in the envelope section is where you can address that problem as soon as we finish loading up. It's getting everything ready for us right now. Here we go. Always make sure to rename your envelope so that you know what is in there. We now have the opportunity to rearrange these, so I'm going to go ahead and do the Working with Real Estate Agents brochure first, the exclusive right to sell listing agreement, residential property, mineral oil and gas, lead-based paint, and then here are those sample documents that we need for them to receive. Among the most important pieces of this tutorial is when we're adding recipients. When we are using Docusign Forms, so they say form, not PDF, we want to make sure that we are adding our recipients from pre-tagged roles. In our details tab, where we said that Dakota was seller 1, Sasha was seller 2, and Monica was the listing agent, we pre-tagged people into the roles that they are playing in this transaction. So that is how we want to add our recipients to our envelope. We are going to get this pop-up window. We are going to denote who seller 1 is because we are having seller 1 sign. Who is seller 2? Who is the listing agent? We do not have a seller entity, so we did not need to choose that box. We are not having buyers or buyer agents sign anything, so we only need to pick the people who are signing. We're going to add selected. We're going to give that a moment so that our folks can populate in here. Please notice everybody has a 1 to the left of their name. That means that everybody is going to receive the document simultaneously, and upon their completion of signatures, they will receive a signed copy once everyone has signed. If you have people that are sharing one email address, they will have to sign in a sequential order. So they will have to be number 1 and number 2. They cannot have the same number if they're using the same email address. We will write a nice message to our recipients down here asking them to please sign. If you are going to have them do their disclosures via Docusign, it is a good idea to go ahead and have some written instructions. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Please make sure that you read the property disclosure thoroughly and answer all questions before moving on to your signature. And you will see that here in the next step. So now this is going to take a moment as it populates all of our signatures into place for us. We have our documents in the order we want. Keep in mind over here on the right-hand side, you do have a preview pane. We can collapse the different forms. If we need to go straight to a page of a specific form, we can double click that page and it will take us there. Just a little side note for you. If you are in the Greensboro Market Center, please remember that you are supposed to pull over initials for your clients on every page of the Working with Real Estate Agents brochure. Winston-Salem agents, you do not need to take this step, but Greensboro, please make sure to come in the upper left-hand corner, choose seller 1, pick up their initial, drop it here, choose seller 2, pick up their initials and drop that here, and then you can drop one date for both of them. And the reason for this, I'll show you really quickly. When you go to the recipient preview, you can see what your clients will see upon receipt of these documents to sign. We can look at it from a computer view at the top, a tablet view by clicking here. We'll take it a moment to to configure itself into tablet view. So here's that tablet view. Here is the mobile friendly view for a phone. So what I want to show you, I'm going to look in computer view so we have a bigger picture here for you to see. We now see a spot for our client to sign at the top. If we click start and they sign, you're going to see it skipped over pages 3 and 2, which did not have an initial at the top, right? So that is the reason that your Greensboro broker in charge has asked you to put it at the top, is to ensure that your folks are stopping at the top and reading the page. Now, if you don't add those initials, Winston say, well, just make sure that you emphasize the importance of reading through these documents, discuss them with their sellers. I've gone so far as to outline, you know, you're signing the Working with Real Estate Agents brochure. Here is what this form means. Please take a moment to read it. You're signing the listing agreement. Here's what this form means. Please take a moment to read it. And had that in my emails when I was getting this done. And you can just save that as a template. You don't have to, in your email that is, you don't have to write it over and over again. Just a couple of tips and tricks. But this way you'll see exactly what your clients are seeing. So then they're going to start signing. And so it's good to take a moment to look at that. Now, we're going to keep moving forward and we're going to notice these agents' initials here, acknowledging disclosure. So when showing you property and assisting you in the purchase of a property, the above agent and firm will represent the seller. I don't need to have this signed in this instance. This would be if I was showing this property that I have listed to a buyer that I am not representing. So I'm actually going to highlight that initial box and delete it. Okay. The date signed is by me. You can see that I'm gold. My seller 1 is blue and my seller 2 is purple. This will date itself once I sign. Dakota has a spot to sign. Sasha has a spot to sign, and both of their dates will pop in as they sign. Scroll on down to the listing agreement. You will see that everybody's initials are in the bottom here. If we had not chosen pre-tag roles in our previous steps, we would have to drag and drop all of these initials, and we do not want to have to do that. So please make sure to take that step. And I want you guys to pay attention to page 9, I believe. So we're going to keep going on down. Everything is looking good. Keep in mind, we've already done our text. We're just making sure our initials are in place. And once we get to, it's either 9 or 10. I think it's 10. Page 10. Here we go. So here's where our client needs to either authorize us to act as a dual agent or to note that they desire exclusive representation at all time, which would mean that none of our wonderful Keller Williams agents could show our property from within our own market center. Another Keller Williams could, but not from within our own market center. And since we buy and sell so much real estate in this area, we do not want that to be the case. So we want to have already had this conversation with our sellers ahead of time and have had them agree to dual agency if it's okay with them. And so the system does not know the answer to that question. So we need to tell the system the answer in this step on page 10 of 12 of your listing agreement. We're going to select the first set of initials under dual agency, and we're going to make it required. We're going to select the second one and make it required. And then we are going to take these others and completely delete them. You can also hit delete over here on the right-hand side. So that's great. You'll notice on your disclosures, buyer 1 is responsible for the signing of all of these forms, okay? Everything is blue. None of it is required. That is why you need to make sure that you take specific time to let them know they need to read each and every question and answer to the best of their ability. And it's going to be the responsibility of seller 1. Okay, so everything looks good. Again, you might want to discuss what these mean and tell them to make sure to select the appropriate boxes. Lead-based paint, same thing. And everything looks great, and you would go ahead and hit send. They can receive these extra samples down here at the bottom for their review. And that is it. Once you get them back, or once you hit send, it is going to tell you that you need to sign. I'll show you quickly what that looks like. It now says it needs my signature, so I can go ahead and click that open and begin signing as a listing agent while my clients are receiving their copy via email and taking the time to sign from their side. So I hope you guys find this helpful, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.